Welcome to Village One Board Meeting and residents. May we all begin with our salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just as a point of knowing, Saturday is Veterans Day. There will be a short ceremony at the Clubhouse at 10:30 for those veterans. How many veterans do we have in here that could perhaps thank you all for your service. I'd like to first, after that, introduce our board. We have from Cincinnati, Ohio, Christopher Von Owen. Next, we have from a little town in Pennsylvania, and I can't remember,
Bowmanstown.
Bowmanstown,
We're at the foothills of the Poconos.
Mike Steigerwald.
Yeah, got it.
And next we have Sheila Nutter, who started growing up in New England and then found her way down to Delaware, and she's a graduate of the University of Delaware in English.
The rest is history.
Okay, and we have a CPA, and we have a Master of Business. First time we've had those two at a board meeting, because most of our board meetings have been by Zoom. Our fifth member of the board, our secretary, is on her way here now from Ontario, London, Ontario, and that's Debbie Cochran. She has put together the Zoom meetings and held us all together for our meetings. So it's been an interesting year for a board.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm Levick Bentley, and I live in Cape Coral for 46 years. Dan says I don't want to hear more about it. I grew up in Polk County. My dad was a native Floridian from Monticello, Florida. And my bride comes from Pittsburgh. Judy. Okay, we didn't introduce their wives, so now I'm in trouble. Okay, we're here though for the meeting that we'd like to talk about tonight. And let's begin with Mike is going to cut some slides and talk to us about Dean's report and walk us through the slide presentation. In your hands, Mike. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Levick. Dean, well, thanks, crew, for you will understand here. So I basically have 7 or 8 slides. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First 2 slides are kind of a recap of where we are financially. The first slide is kind of a recap of the insurance company report that we got back in June. What I did was I sliced it and diced it a little bit differently from what the report looked like, because if you had a chance to look at that report, there's individual sections for all 35 buildings. There's a laundry list of things that are covered in their estimate. What I did was I split it out in basically 3 categories. As everybody is aware, they have agreed to replace one roof, and the dollar amount that they had listed for that was $92,000. There was a tarping estimate of almost $155,000. And then the other pieces, is that better?
Take this mic, the orange one. The orange one.
The remaining piece, the remaining piece would be for the repair items. You know, everybody, or some people had lanai damage, screen damage, soffits, you know, fascia, stuff like that. So that was the other $137,000. So the total amount of estimate of damages, according to the insurance report, was $383,000. Okay? You needed to deduct from that $302,000 for the deductible that we have. yielding a result of $80,323. That's what we got a check for. Okay, everybody kind of understand that? I've seen that before? Okay. So on the next chart, my lovely secretary, Vanna White here, flip the tiles. So I carried that $80,000 to the top line of this chart, and basically this is a comparison of, I'll call it the offers or the dollar amounts here that we've kind of been kicking around here. The second line is the proof of loss claim, and this is the cash value after the deductible and all the other stuff that has to come off the top. It's actually a cash value of roughly $2.9 million. That includes replacing all the roofs. I believe it includes cleaning the roofs and cleaning the buildings and covers the tipping cost, lanai damage, blah, blah, everything else, right? This is where we are.
So what is known?
What is known? It's what's in the report.
Right.
It's what's in the report. And then, just for a point of reference, we have a contract right now for, I think it's $61,000 or $62,000 to replace the roof, one roof. So all I did was say, okay, I just used a ballpark number of $65,000 times the remaining 34 roofs, just as a guesstimate. Okay, we don't have any, formal documents that has this on, but if you do the math, it's $2.2 million. Okay, so those are the numbers that are out there. Those are the numbers that we're working with. Okay, and then the other piece that we've been talking about is this SBA loan. The maximum amount it appears that we are eligible for is $1.8 million. Obviously, $1.8 million does not cover even just the roof replacement cost at $2.2 million. All right, so there's an issue there, all right, just to start with. And repair estimates, who knows? I mean, we really haven't brought any kind of roofing companies in, to my knowledge, to actually give us repair costs. If we had to go that route, what would it cost to repair 34 roofs? If it's even possible. So, everybody got that? Everybody understand what those numbers are? Is there any questions on the numbers or how we got them or anything like that? We're good to go?
I got a question.
Yeah.
The 34 roofs. I thought you said there were 35 buildings.
So we got reimbursement for one roof already.
Okay.
We got $80,000 of our claim for one roof.
Are you talking one roof or one building?
I'm sorry. In my mind, one building is one roof.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
I have no damage to my roof at all. Why would we replace?
This is theoretical. I just threw this up.
Okay.
We haven't got to that point yet, right? I was just providing a point of reference. If we went that route, potentially this could be a cost.
Fine.
Just a part of the cost. Okay? Yeah, Gail.
So why didn't we have Bill or someone else give us an estimate for patching roofs so that we know what it is?
Well, Gail, I know what it is. I've had 3 repairs done on my roof. Does anybody roof on, Johnny, your direction, do you know what the bill's for?
The average around $2,000.
But that was your roof, when people may have more expensive or less.
Don't know the answer to that yet, and I don't know, Dan, you were on the hurricane committee before I got here. Is that something you guys considered, or?
We haven't had anybody up on the roof to get the repairs estimates because who has been up on the roof has said that they were trashed, they were beyond repair. At that point, we didn't know whether or not tiles would be available. We could have Gil go up and systematically go through the roofs and find out what he thinks it can repair. It won't match what the engineer's report says repairs will need because of the availability of materials at once. But we can do that.
But I think we should have some idea. I mean, how can you come to a conclusion if you don't know what it's really going to cost?
We talked about getting an RFP and having some roofing companies come up and do that for us. We haven't got to that point yet. It's certainly something that we talked about. Dan?
I will say that Tom had suggested that the dean hasn't had an engineer report of his own, that an engineer report should be done. by an engineer. And see, we get those types of estimates on repairs, that we have something to compare with. If not, then we need to get an engineer's report, then to do the same thing.
Well, it seems like roofing companies could do that.
Why can't
Why pay for,
The roofing companies are normally going up on roofs and saying, Vinnie has 4 roofing companies on the roof, and that was one that owns it, we're listed for repair. All 4 roofing companies said they need to be replaced.
No skill set, as he was
Replace.
We can have specifically look at individual roofs and compare, or say what you can do for repair.
I think that's a good question, Gail, and it's something we're going to pursue.
14 months later, and we don't know what it's going to cost.
Why don't we have an engineer's report? But at this point, we are 14 months into it, Dean.
Okay, hey,
I'm sorry.
hang on. We're getting into some of the topics that we want to talk about. If you will, just kind of hold off on those. I think a lot of these questions are kind of interrelated with Dean and his team has prepared already. If you would, please. All right. All right, next slide, please. All right, so just some ground rules here, if we could. We're trying to, we only have a certain amount of time here to get through a lot of topics. We're not going to resolve all of the issues tonight. We don't plan on taking any kind of votes or anything like that tonight. This is an information sharing session with Dean and his team, right? This is not a debate. Everybody has opinions about what we should do, what we shouldn't be doing, but it's Dean's show here, and we have a lot of questions of Dean. One about the proof of loss document. We have questions about what has he done, what has the team done over the last couple of months to make progress. And then the final part of this is, what are some steps that we need to do going forward? And these are the 3 categories that I've kind of laid out my slides for, my questions for, to kind of drill down to those issues, okay? Hold the questions to the end if you could. Try to keep these sidebar discussions down to a minimum. If you really, go outside if you have to. We have tried to disseminate as much information as possible to you guys on the First Service Residential website. We have all of the reports out there. They've been out there for a number of months. If you haven't been able to find them, let us know. Make sure that you get out. You have to look at these reports, right? We want everybody to be informed about everything that's going on here. We want to have all the options on the table so we can, as a group, make a decision where we're headed with this thing. Because, again, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. So try to restrict your questions to Dean and the stuff that he wants to talk about today. And stay away from the coastal report, the engineering report. Okay, everybody understand that? All right, cool. All right. All right, next. All right, so I apologize for charts that have lots of verbiage on it, but unfortunately that's my way of getting to these things so I don't lose track of anything. So, and the other reason I put them on there, I'm a little bit Pennsylvania Dutch, so I'll make sure that everybody understands what my question is. This question is, I'll read it. After reviewing the proof of loss document, many residents have concluded it did not achieve their expectations. The expectation was that the proof of loss was to be a counter-proposal as detailed as Coastal's estimate, along with our adjuster's opinion and rebuttal. The proof of loss was received on 10/31, almost 5 months after Coastal's estimate was released. The overriding question from this group is, what took so long? I'll turn it over to you.
So you understand what a proof of loss is. It's not an estimate. A proof of loss is a statement of what we're saying that it is going to take to repair or replace all the damage from the hurricane. It has nothing other than the numbers from the estimate on it that we're attesting to. That's what it is. So it doesn't have a breakdown of any other source other than the actual estimate that we provide as the counter to whatever the insurance company is putting out there. Now, there has been, I had an opportunity to meet with some of the board members prior to about some of these questions that might be coming up, and to try and recap how you strategize these things from the very beginning. You know that it's going to be a fight all the way. This is 35 buildings and $3 million worth of, $4 million worth of roofs damage. The insurance company has the right to, a reservation of right in their letter, to investigate this claim as much as they want to. And they put it to you in writing, and they do so. We've been in contact the entire time with the board, and the previous board, now there's a new board, advising them as what's going on with the claim. It is an example of the delays that they will inevitably do. Is they decided in December, back in November and December, that they wanted to do an engineer's report. Okay, we can't deny them from doing that. But we have to give them the right to inspect, otherwise it's a breach of the contract. That report is dated December 20th, 22. We did not receive that report from the insurance company until June 5th. 6 months later. Now, during the storm, with all of the activity that's going on, with all the thousands of claims, and engineers are busy, adjusters are busy, everybody's trying to evaluate everything, those engineers' reports are going to take months to get. And the insurance company knows it, but we have no choice but to sit there and let them do that. And while we start documenting our claim, we, with the roofers going up there and inspecting all the damages, our inspections of all the damages, getting ready for what they're going to do. Every claim is going to be set up from the very beginning as if it's going to end up in a lawsuit. Hopefully it doesn't. But we have to document it that way and be prepared. Our investigation is going to find things that we don't expose right away because we want to hold that card, tight to the cuff until it's time to use it. So there's a lot of strategy that's going on. The insurance company chose to go this route, and that's where they're going. And right now we're at a place where it's time to to negotiate the damages for what they are, and that's where we're at right now. We produced the proof of loss in our estimate that we're saying now this is what our damages to the best of our knowledge. And now that they have to dispute it with us. They have to disprove what we're saying. Now, the other question that came up, which I found interesting in the meeting that I had the other day, was it was brought to my attention that there was a method of repair on their engineer's report, which I had a chance to review since then. And I had stated that there was no method of repair that I was aware of that was a real method of repair. I went back to their engineer's report and looked at what it did say about their method of repair. Does anybody else know what their method of repair was?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah. We're talking about taking a tile that's split and cutting the head of the nail off and then sliding it back.
Yeah, how are they going to do that?
They're going to lift the tile above it slightly, cut the nail off underneath it.
With
Some sort of
a
saw.
sawzall.
Yeah, probably.
And put it down.
You're familiar with a sawzall?
Yeah.
This is the most unruly construction saw that you could have. It's a blade that just sticks out in the end of the saw.
It has a mind of its own.
With a mind of its own, exactly. So you can only imagine how much damage that saw blade is going to do to the membrane that's on that roof when you're trying to cut it. That is not a method that I know of a roofer would do to repair a roof, because you're going to create more damage to the roof than you already have. So just because the engineers who are working for the insurance company are diminishing the value of the damage that's on it, they're hired by the insurance companies. That's what they do. They tell you about a method of repair that nobody in their right mind would use to repair a roof. And then you choose to accept that as that's real? Well, you can, I don't.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm not sure I got the answer that I was asking for there, but let me read what was in the insurance report. American Coastal requests the following documents to be provided within 60 days. There's a little bit of a laundry list, but the one I'll read out is a signed proof of loss, including all estimates, proposals, invoices, receipts, permits, and contracts, and corresponds for work performed or to be performed. We obviously didn't hit the 60 days. Obviously, it's a request. By missing that 60-day window, did that put us 3 months further behind than we might have been if that proof of loss was submitted within the 60 days?
No, they were still investigating the claim as much as we were.
I'm
So when you request a proof of loss, the key factor is that we don't prejudice the claim. So if we were discussing, if you guys decided to, get an SBA loan and replace all the roofs, well, at that point, then we would have to consider seriously having another engineering firm to go over those roofs and have that report before those roofs are actually replaced. Because once you replace them, then they can say you prejudiced the claim, you didn't give us the opportunity to look at it, and now we're not going to pay you.
I'm sorry.
Wait, let's stop for a second. I'm the association's attorney. Let me help you out, though. Let me help you out, because this sounds like it's going to go sideways. Okay? Let me just help you out with insurance, because I think you guys might think that this is a unique situation. So let me just preface what happened 14 months ago. The largest storm ever hits this coast. Okay? The most amount of damage ever in dollar amounts hits this coast. Okay? 14 months is absolutely nothing. In your time frame, it's a long time, and it is, because I'm one of those homeowners. But we're settling Hurricane Irma claims 5.5 years later. Okay? So this whole concept that 14 months ago is a long time and we should have been paid, guys, I'm going to tell you right now. I probably represent 300 associations, all in similar, some of them on the beach, in Fort Myers Beach and Sandoval. I mean, the building is half over, and the insurance company will say, well, we're just not paying. We're not going to pay. We're not going to pay. We can't pay. We're not going to pay. We're not going to do this stuff. So the premise has to be, this is going to be a very long time period. Okay? And you can meet all their deadlines, but they control the money, and they are not paying. Not paying. Period. I can say with certainty across the board, they are refusing to pay, they won't pay, in some situations, they can't pay. So we have to start with the premise that this is going to be a very long and difficult process. And we can accelerate the process, we can. One acceleration is to bring a lawsuit, okay? Then it gets very expensive for all of you, okay? Because now we are hiring experts. You are paying attorneys, you're going to do this stuff. And you're going to have a judge make one decision. You win or you lose, that's it. That's how it works. The other thing that's not in your favor is insurance companies hate roof claims. Absolutely hate them. Will deny them arbitrarily. They hate them. They're their most expensive claim. So roof claims automatically go to the bottom of the list. They don't want them. So at the end of the day, you have an adjuster who hires an engineer. I can almost tell you what the engineer is going to say. The roof's not damaged, a little bit's damaged, you could spend $2,000 and fix it, and you should be fine. You guys have paid thousands of dollars in premiums. You don't deserve to be treated that way. Nobody does. But that's exactly what's going to happen. So all of these estimates, all these adjuster opinions, all of this stuff means really nothing. At the end of the day, that's their opinion. We're going to have our own, wait, let me just finish. They're going to have their own opinion. We'll have our own opinion. And hopefully you can get to the point where you can negotiate with a warm body. That's what we want to do. If we can negotiate with a warm body, we can do it. But short of that, convincing them by taking apart coastals, it doesn't mean anything. They don't care. They don't really care about that stuff. So at the end of the day, the real issue is to go get all your ducks in a row. And I'm going to tell you right now, you will end up litigating this. You will be filing your suit. It's really the only option you're going to have. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, but that's how it's going to be. They're going to give you this lowball offer. So what that $90,000 that they gave you, honestly, was what they call the undisputed amount. Okay? You guys probably have not heard that. Within a certain period of time, they pay you right away. They give you some ridiculous amount of money. All it's doing is preventing what's known as a bad faith claim. If they don't make that undisputed amount, you can proceed forward with a bad faith claim. So they make that payment. Boom, that's what they did. That's all that payment is. It doesn't reflect that there's 1 roof damage. It doesn't reflect that there's 30 roofs damage. All it is to stop this bad faith. And this period of time right here, they have thousands of claims. Thousands and thousands and thousands of claims. So at the end of the day, being timely or not being timely, the proof of loss is in. They can ask all day long. They ask us, send me all the receipts, send me all that other stuff. All I'm obligated is to provide you a proof of loss. You come out and evaluate it. You tell us if our proof of loss is not there. If we agree with you, we'll take your funds. If we don't agree with you, we'll end up in court. That's the process. So why somebody would not have take this thing apart and do line by line? That's called litigation. That's what we do in litigation. We don't do it here. We don't argue our cases here. This is just put forth, and now the burden shifts back to them to dispute it. And that's in effect what they're doing. Once they get the proof of loss, they have to then go back and dispute it. So maybe that helped. I mean, it prefaces the whole thing is, what took so long? Really nothing. It's just timing.
So,
I'll answer your question, because I know this stuff back.
So one thing, I appreciate what you've told us.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who expect this thing to go a lot faster and aren't ready maybe to accept that explanation. We'll find out. The only point we're trying to make here is, okay, it's going to take 24 months. By having the proof of loss 2 months or 3 months earlier, potentially could cut into that time that you just expounded upon. Potentially.
Yeah.
Is that correct or not?
I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I don't know the answer. The mere fact that we filed something doesn't necessarily mean the minute it's filed, it starts to be worked on. It doesn't work that way.
Well, we'll get
It
into
depends
that.
on the agenda.
We'll get into that question a little bit later.
We've been negotiating and going back with the insurance
What's
company the entire time.
what's the requirement to respond to our POL? Kind of jump around, I apologize, but.
Well, they really have 30 days to reject it.
Okay.
That would be the next thing we expect.
But here's the thing though. When they send you a rejection letter, okay, that's it. It's game over. Take your $92,000. We're done. Insurance company, we're done.
It's posturing. They're going back and forth there.
All right.
So
then what you're gonna lawyer right away then.
So at the end of the day, 30 days when they send you the rejection letter. That's why most people at this point, they don't go to mediation first. They don't. They send you a rejection letter. You don't want the rejection letter. You don't want the rejection letter because the game is over. So in the meantime, you're basically playing the game to see if you can get them to want an appraisal, all kinds of other things to happen, short of going to lawsuit and short of getting that rejection letter. Because the rejection letter gives them no option and gives you no option. It is not something you want to receive. Nobody in this industry wants to receive that letter because it now means the whole case shifts to litigation.
So we're gonna get it.
No, you're probably not going to get it.
You said we're expecting.
No, I said in 30 days you could get it.
And once you get a rejection letter, it could be rejected for numerous reasons. And at that point, it's not like you stop negotiating the claim or you stop proving your point. You keep shifting this burden of proof back and forth until you have a settlement, or you get tired of playing that game and you go to a lawsuit. Right now, we still have, time is on our side as far as negotiating the claim. You have so many different problems going on with these claims throughout the year. We are our 6th adjuster on this claim. I mean, and every time you get a change in an adjuster, now this guy's got to take 2-3 weeks a month to get caught up to a claim this size to figure out what's going on in the claim. We've had 2 adjusters in the past 3 weeks. Okay, the first guy realized that they never sent us a reservation of rights letter. It's another posturing letter that really is not going to do anything, but they're required to do it. Okay, so he sends it out. Within a week and a half, I get a phone call from another adjuster who's now assigned to this claim because he's out on medical leave now. It's the game, and you just got to be prepared to be in it for the long haul. We'll get there.
But what is the long haul?
Well, you want to put a time frame on the long haul, and what
People
Rob
have
is
houses
saying.
to sell.
We have houses.
People have houses to
sell,
sell.
we
Listen,
have-
I understand, like I said, almost 6 years later, we settled Hurricane Irma claims. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have two questions. First, he talked about the engineering report and the time stamp. He physically went around with the engineer, inspected those homes. And he made a statement, said you knew that that was going to be time stamped and submitted. What report have you submitted through?
I'm sorry,
A third-party engineering firm?
What about the
Refused your
engineering?
report.
We don't, I mean, unless the association
Well,
represents.
do you work for us or for him?
No, I work for you, so- but I'll
Well,
let
then
you
I want him
answer.
to answer that.
Well, the answer is, who do you think pays for an engineering report?
He should pay for that.
No, that's not how the game works, my friend. So I'm trying to help you.
We're not playing a game.
Yeah, but it is a game. So if you hire somebody on a contingency,
You think it's a game?
it's in a game with your insurance company. It's a game.
Well, then I want to know why he did not file a proof of loss. A proof of loss is just not numbers. I saw his proof of loss.
Yeah.
A proof of loss is a damage estimate. I didn't see any other damage estimate.
The damage estimate's sitting on the table here.
So what report have you filed to refute the engineer's report? You are never going to win unless you have something to refute the report.
But who pays for it? Did you read the contract? You pay for it.
You don't have to have an
You
engineer
don't.
report to
Yeah.
refute. No.
Well, if you're representing a homeowner association, then you need to come up with some kind of game plan to have a say.
But listen, I represent the association. I don't
Because
represent
every time you
the.
answer a question, you're answering.
No, because it seems like there's a true misunderstanding of how the insurance process works.
Listen,
It doesn't work.
I'm not really interested in that. I'm interested in the timeframe, how he goes about, what his plan is to come into some kind of terms with the insurance company, so this community cannot devalue the price of the homes. I have a 2-year time limit for the time that I could put in for a loss assessment for my house. Now, we
You
need
should have
to
been able to
come
put
up
in
with
for a
some
loss
kind of
assessment now.
conclusion
Wait,
on how he plans on addressing the issue.
Well, first of all, loss assessment requires the association, the loss assessment coverage, requires the association to special assess you. Has the association special assessed you?
Not yet.
Okay, so,
To that point, yes.
well, stop. When the association special assesses you, then all of you will be able to submit for a loss assessment coverage. Until that happens, you can't. So that has nothing to do with the insurance claim. That has to do with whether or not your board wants to assess you.
I want him to
Well, they
answer the
can.
question on how he is going to prepare to fight a professional engineering report to.
With the
that-
actual damage.
with that type of damage there.
With the actual damage, which we are now getting in. What we suspected all along, what we knew would be there, has now reared its head on 5, 6, 7 different buildings, especially ones that appear not to have any damage at all, and then all of a sudden they do. That's because these roofs have been pummeled by that hurricane, and they're loose, and everything that we've said about them is there. I don't worry about proving something I know is there.
So I'm a point here. It appears that you definitely disagree with the engineer's report as it stands, and...
In whole.
I'm sorry?
In whole.
The other day when we spoke, you talked about the process that you believe is the proper way to repair the roofs. And again, I'm coming at this from a point of trying to accelerate the process. Why
What
not
process are you trying to accelerate?
getting to an endpoint?
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to understand.
Why would you, I heard what you say about what a proof of loss document at a minimum should be. Why is it not to anybody's advantage to lay out the claim at the same time as the proof of loss document is?
It was.
You explained the process? Where did you explain the process?
Proof of loss.
No, the difference in what you say the engineer is wrong in his methodology in repairing the roofs, what you explained the other day, if you want to talk about that, you can, but you talked about removing the tiles all the way up is the
Yes.
only way to, where is that in any documentation to substantiate why we need new roofs?
but that's through the roofer, and that's why they pulled the permits.
I'm asking you, is it anywhere in the documentation yet?
It's what?
Is it anywhere in the proof of loss documentation
No,
yet?
would not be in the proof.
So my question is, why would we not submit every bit of information we have to refute the claim now?
There's a time during the negotiations to submit the documents that you think you need to support what you're saying. This is a negotiation that's gonna go back and forth. And you don't just throw all your cards on the table.
They did.
Face up.
They played their hand.
Oh, they have.
It feels to me, all right, so in a negotiation, you never want to play first. They played their cards first.
Well, they have to.
I'm just
That's how
saying that.
statute, but see, Mike, here's the problem. You, with all due respect, you are projecting a bunch of comments, but you really don't know how the process works. They have to give you the report. They didn't show you your hand, they did what they did. And let me just tell you this. I could give them a report and say they're wrong. Do you honestly think that they're just gonna say, hey, this report, I like this one better? The answer is, they already gave you your answer. The answer is no. And when you negotiate with the insurance company, they don't really care about your roofs. They don't really care about this stuff. It's all about a dollar amount. It has nothing to do with your roofs. So at the end of the day, you can spend lots of money on reports, right, to basically say, you're wrong. They already know they're wrong. We know they're wrong. We presented the evidence of damaged roofs are wrong. I can have a contractor go out there and say they're wrong. But at the end of the day, trying to litigate back and forth between expert reports, that's not how the process works, and it isn't going to speed the process up.
The best thing that we have is what has transpired over the past few months with these buildings that are leaking and having to be repaired. I requested the roofer to give us full detailed reports on how, where the leak was, where it went inside the roofs, everything. That is way more valuable than any engineer who's walked around on a roof and said, oh, that roof's only got 4 broken tiles.
I think one of the other issues that I've heard from people, from the residents, is that, I just heard you say that the engineer works for the insurance company, you have to discount it, right? It's biased, right? What I hear you say is we have a roofing company, one roofing company has presented their dollar number estimate of what it is to replace the roof.
That's just fact of what it costs to replace the roof. Right?
That's fact. So, you think it's,
And
you think the engineer, there's a conflict of interest. Why isn't this a conflict of interest? Because this guy has a vested interest of a $2.2 or $2.4 million contract. To me, there's a little bit of a potential conflict of interest there also.
Documented the damage.
You can hire any roofer you want. Go ask a roofer to come. Listen, this is where you truly don't understand, and I heard it out here, so let me just explain. Let's just get a roofer to go up there and give me an estimate. Answer, you're never gonna get a roofer to give you an estimate. Roofers are too busy. I'm not gonna go up on somebody's 27 roofs, look around, tell you all this other stuff. If come, you're gonna give me a job.
Somebody said that you had 3 other roofers come up here, and they all said the same thing, they need new roofs.
Yeah, that's all the roofers are gonna tell you. No one is gonna come, no one does anything for free. You would work for free. No one does anything for free. So you can call all the roofers you want, but they're not gonna come up there and give you an estimate.
If they were able to repair, let's say,
Yeah, did you get one from, did you get one from Rand's Roofing?
No, this is from the insurance company, so they went detailed roof by roof on this report, and we never followed it, as far as I know, have we?
We sent in a roof of loss, I guess. That's the rebuttal.
What is, no, this was their rebuttal to us when they went up on the roof with our roof, correct?
I'm not sure what I don't have his hands, so I can't.
This is from our insurance company, Sedgwick,
Sedgwick's the adjusting firm, yeah.
yeah, the data, what's it says, the data, let's see if I can find that.
But before we get to this, you should have started off with me first. And let me tell you why. I know, I can hear all the comments back here. But let me just say why we should start off. You have the ability to get an SBA loan, which which is a positive thing, okay? Because it relieves a lot of the tension in the room. We talked about it. You have the ability to get government money on a 30-year term at a very low fixed rate, okay? That you can use to fix the community, okay? That takes away all the problems in the room, and then the association can spend the time, the necessary time, to proceed with a proper way of handling the lawsuit, okay? Without that, it's a constant push to get something from the insurance company, and they don't work on your time. They don't work on your time. They don't care about your time. They don't care if you have 2 years. They don't care anything about you, period. End of story. Okay? So the most positive thing this board can do for you, for all of you, okay, and for yourselves, is finish this SBA loan, which is in the process.
But you said that real nice and fast. Taking a loan and paying it back is a whole different situation. That's a lot of money we're talking about here. I just bought my property in 21, and if I have to now, along with everybody else, get a new mortgage, my value just went down $30,000 because I have a mortgage attached to my property. So you could say get the SBA loan. I think that's a viable option. I agree with you. But that's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow right now. Most of us probably won't be around at the end of when it's paid off. I get that.
Good choice. Wait, stop for a second. To resolve your roof problems, it's approximately $93.21 an additional amount.
In addition to the 300 and something dollars that just raised.
And then our insurance just went up sky.
Exactly right.
And I'm sorry. That's correct.
Yes.
But that's $1.8 million. We cannot repair all the roofs for $1.8 million. We'll need at least $500,000 to $600,000 more. The proposal was everybody ponies up $6,000 or $7,000 up front to cover the difference between the $1.8 million and the 2.4 or the 2.6 that we're going to need.
Did you ever?
So that's not a piece of right.
But let's just talk about this. You have $1.8 million to do all the roofs. Okay? Think about it this way. You find a roofing company, you show $1.8 million, you show them a job that takes months, okay? There's deals to be worked out. Okay, so don't poo-poo everything, because the most beneficial thing for this community, because I don't represent the board, I represent the community, so what I'm telling you, which I will tell all the other communities, the ones that were able to get an SBA loan, and not all were, okay? It is definitely a very positive thing. It's a very positive thing. It relieves a lot of the tension in the room, and it allows the process to go. Because you standing up here, kind of, trying to say that somehow if something changes, you're going to change the timing of the process. You're not. And you're giving these people right here, honestly, this is not me talking to you, you're giving these people this idea that somehow we can push this thing fast. You can't. The process is going to take years. Years! I even heard somebody say that there. I mean, I've been living here and practicing in this area. When I say I'm settling claims for Irma, so how long have you lived in Florida?
I said 2 years.
2 years. This is your first storm. First storm. Happens to be the worst storm, but it's your first storm. Listen, I've been experiencing them like you have for years and years and years. This is the same process over and over and over again. And strike two is the legislature helped the insurance companies to tell you now. So I didn't mean to take a, sure, you can ask me
So
anything.
what you're saying is accurate, and
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe you right now. It doesn't-
Okay, that's all right.
But, if that's true, how are all the single-family homes in this community getting roofs on?
Yeah.
That's a
Very good question.
Okay,
For a very long,
Yeah.
since Ian,
Yes.
Yes.
getting roofs.
different, totally different. Because it's a single family home and it's a different policy.
They have insurance company.
And we're also getting away from our immediate.
Yes.
We're getting to the right issues here.
So,
This
wait a
is
minute,
fine.
I got a
Rob, sure.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sure. Go.
If we do the SBA loan,
Yes.
we then have some money.
Correct.
Does that reduce our chances of recovering from the insurance company?
No, has nothing to do with it.
Because suddenly, they say, you don't need us, and we can flip it off.
Nope, has nothing to do with it. It never even comes up.
But then do we
I thought I
have,
heard somebody say that if you go ahead and fix the roofs, then the insurance company, your claim is no longer valid because somebody.
No, it was Dean.
Incorrect.
Dean
Incorrect.
said that we would have to have our own private engineering report prior to, am I correct,
You would
Dean?
have to give the insurance company a chance to re-inspect that roof.
Right.
We're claiming that
Before
we
we
want it
fix
full
any
crack
roof.
before we actually replace it, otherwise you're going to prejudice the.
Correct.
So I'll give you a personal example. My roof on my home
Yep.
was listed off. My insurance company told me two things. One is 76 miles an hour top speed wind. In their report, 76 miles an hour. Never reached anymore, in the engineer's report. Number two, they said, when a roof experienced hurricane wind damage, it looks like this. See pictures 1, 2, 3. It's my roof bent up. Get all the way to the end. The roof wasn't damaged by the hurricane, it was damaged by failure to maintain. I'm not joking. That's what the roof looked like. It's a laughable report. The insurance carrier says, we send it to the insurance carrier, we said, you might want to look at this, it's really bad. They come back and they said, no, we verified it, everything is accurate in there. All that is just like, move the case along, we don't want it. But at the end of the day, for you, so I ripped the roof up, so you call the insurance company, you tell them, on such and such a date, I'm going to tear my roof up. Last chance. That's how you unprejudice the claim.
Yep.
And typically what they're going to do is they're going to say, I don't care. And so then when we tear off, we do the documentation, because you guys really don't know what the damage of your roof is. You think those tiles are your roof. It's really the membrane underneath your roof. That's really what's doing most of the work. And today, you don't know, because as those tiles lifted, they dug into your roof. So until you take the entire roof off, you don't really know what those things are. So you're not prejudiced if you do the repairs yourself. You're not prejudiced if you take the loan out. It has nothing to do with your insurance. Your insurance claim is independent of that. Matter of fact, it helps you because now you're not sending a proof of loss estimate, you're actually sending the bill. Because remember they were asking for, give me the bill. Okay, well here's the bill. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of anxiety in the room. And this isn't the only room that the anxiety is. Because everybody wants that. When can I sell? You can't sell. You can't sell.
So how does he plan on counteracting an engineering report to go forward with the claim? I mean, you're telling me you read the contract. I know the law as far as he had 60 days to file a proof of loss.
No, he doesn't have 60, he does not have 60 days to prove.
Why not?
Because a proof of loss is not required until the insurance carrier requested it. That's not the insurance carrier, that's how a proof of loss. The proof of loss
So why
is
did he
due.
wait that long to file a proof of loss?
Well, why doesn't he answer?
And why are we not-
And why
why-
are we answering?
What are his plans going forward? How to counteract an engineering report and come to some
Okay.
middle ground with a settlement?
Oh, okay, so.
I want you-
Who, wait, listen, I understand.
I don't-
Who's going to pay for this
I
report?
want, or you represent.
I represent you, but I'm trying to answer your question.
I want to hear
Okay,
this
here's
question
your report.
is answered.
Here it is. Who pays for the report? Just answer.
The engineer's report? They should.
The question I asked was, regardless of whether you agree, disagree, think the report is, whatever the question might be, whatever that report you think is, it is.
Yep.
What are your plans going forward in how to counteract that report, because they have very low percentages of damage that they don't even meet the threshold. How do you plan on counteracting that report and convincing them?
With the actual repairs, the actual damage, which is
So you
being
want us to just
documented
go
all
forward
this summer.
with the repairs?
The actual damage to these properties, and the ones that have been being repaired is actual. It's not somebody's opinion. The damage is actually there. It's documented to the way we need it documented
It's
right now.
$3,000 worth of damage for these roofs.
Per week,
Yeah, you,
per week.
Per week.
Why?
Some homes have had multiple weeks.
7 or 8.
because
$1,000,
they,
I mean,
as these roofs are coming apart after the hurricane, they are gonna have to be repaired. The roofers, when you talk about these other roofing companies that also have been out here, One of the reasons they don't want to do, where their whole suggestion is a new roof, is because anytime they're gonna do these patch repairs like this, none of it's warranty. There's no warranty on your roof any longer because it's above the hurricane. The physical damage to that roof is your best defense.
So you're telling us that you want us to repair the roof and then...
No, we're only dealing with them as they leak.
So what about the ones that aren't leaking?
Well, thank God they're not.
And so I never get a roof because it's not leaking?
No.
What
So
happens to
some
my
of
roof?
these roofs have been temporarily repaired, covered, preventing the water from penetrating to the membrane. Other ones were so severely damaged, didn't even realize it, that they started to leak.
Okay.
Now, it is an example of what we were saying all along about the conditions of these roofs, is the ones that looked the least damaged, which some of those are being repaired. Why?
Okay,
Because
but
the
you're
damage we're talking about is underneath
You're
those
not
tiles you
answering-
look at on
You're
the
not
roof.
answering my question. I have yet, my attached neighbor and myself have yet to ever have a leak. And we had a lot of
I
rain
understand,
storms.
but the
we
mere
had-
fact,
And I'm talking
I understand,
about-
but the mere
excuse me.
fact that a roof doesn't leak, okay, doesn't mean the roof is not
Okay, but
damaged.
I'm talking about.
Okay, I understand
okay?
that. You're trying to make a point that
I'm
no
trying
leak.
to get it, to ask a question.
Go ahead.
So if my roof doesn't leak in the next 5 years, and other people's leak, and they get a new roof, and then where does that leave me?
Well, there are the other issues that have to be contended with the negotiation, with the matching of the roofs. They all have the matching.
What, I
We have
am
more
the
than we have.
potential leak. So I know about matching roofs and not matching roofs.
What unit number are you?
Huh?
What unit number are you? What building is yours?
I don't even know. It's one that supposedly had a permit.
All right, hold it, guys. We're getting out of control.
End of the conversation.
1305 and 1307.
7, okay.
Hang on, guys. Listen, I think we have a clear understanding of what the next steps are and what the potential proposition looks like. I don't think there's any question. I mean,
I think what it is when Dean told us that if there is one tile that's busted, he's got to go this way too, which made us more than 25%.
Correct.
All right? So what you're telling us is, then technically, we're not getting any money.
No, I didn't say that at all. That's still true. That is still the method of repair that has to be done. The only thing is that the city has delayed, made it a law issue for them, deciding whether they were going to issue these permits or abide by the 25%.
Right.
At this juncture, it doesn't really matter to us, and I'm not waiting any further for the city to do anything about it, because we've documented the damage to these roofs and continue to do so. Within the next coming weeks, one of the things that we're going to be doing out here is we're going to take the drones and put the drones up to show now what these roofs look like a year later, with all these patches and everything in the roofs.
I understand this was going to take 2 to 3 years. I kind of knew it. But my question is,
It may not.
your
It could.
21 years experience and you being an attorney,
30 years.
really what are our chances of getting new roofs? Really, come on. I mean, we're $2 million in.
Right.
Well, I'll give you the honest opinion. You're at 2.2 million, right?
Correct.
And they're at 92,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so somewhere in the happy medium, because here, right, exactly. Okay, so somewhere in the happy medium, we would hope to be. So is that $1 million, $1.5 million? It's always going to be less than the claim. It always is.
Absolutely.
Right, so the best you guys can do is maybe $1.5 million. But here's the problem. You want to hire an engineer? Nobody does it for free. Nobody advances it for free. It doesn't do anything. You want to go to court for litigation? The attorneys are charging 30, 40, and 50% of your recovery. You get $1 million, you get $500,000, right? So at the end of the day, the rush, right, to prove you're right at the end of the day, the net to you is really bad. So the suggestion is, go through the process. It will never be near 2.2 million. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Well, we've
So-
been working with so many companies.
Yeah.
What are our chances, really, of us getting new roofs? I mean, you are an
I
attorney,
think
you've
it's
worked
pretty
with.
high, honestly. I think,
I don't know.
the odds of getting roofs
When
are
it
high,
comes- yeah.
and that's been shaping up all summer.
And the thing that worries me is because I've got like all these patches on my roof.
Right.
And now we're 14 months in,
Yep.
and how much damage now is underneath my roof? That's what I'm concerned about.
Is yours leaking yet?
Not yet, no.
That's
But
good. But
we
you
have
have
to have
substantial
patches.
damage on yours. You have a lot of patches around.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All
On
right,
my ridge
that's
patch.
good. So what I heard you just say is that there is probably going to be some number that we're going to have to come up with, whether it's through an SBA loan or through some additional assessments, to cover the potential roofs that we don't get insurance money for. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's- so
I
that's
guess
the
I guess the way you have to look at that is also is that even if we got the whole thing, you're still gonna have a cost of your deductible and.
Oh, for sure.
So you're always gonna have that.
Go ahead, ma'am.
All right, I want to know, is there any money in reserves?
I don't, that you would have to ask.
So the financial reports are out there with First Service Residential. There's maybe enough in the reserve to cover 2, maybe 3 roofs, replacement roofs.
In the coming weeks,
Also, I didn't realize how things were, but I have full coverage on my house. If I'm roof damage, I can go to my own insurance company.
No.
There's
Not
nothing
here.
here.
No. You don't have a roof.
we had a problem with that already in here. Someone filed a claim against the association claim for a roof, and we had to foster writing letters and retractions because you can't put a claim on top of a claim that already exists. This is an association responsibility. Their policy is what's in play here. In the coming weeks here, we're gonna find out how much of a game this is gonna be, or how strong the insurance company is gonna wanna stand where they are, because I don't think that they can. We now have a lot of documentation that is gonna change entirely.
But what if our chances?
Can we end the last question?
What are our chances about insurance? Because if we are fixed, will we not be able to get insurance for our roofs?
I'll answer the question. Here's your problem right now. When you have an open claim of unrepaired damages, you're stuck with your insurance company.
Yes, I know that.
Okay.
I know that.
Years, right? So, I know, so let's get back to what we were talking about. So you're stuck. So if they want to raise you by, double, triple, you have nothing you can do. And they will, and they have, right? So again, as terrible as this sounds, okay, I know it's $90 a month, right? But by the time you go through all the damages, by the time you go through the time, all this other stuff, the SBA loan is the bridge for you, okay? Because it's a 30-year payment,
Right,
right?
maybe holding the entire bag if Dean comes up with nothing in the end.
Well,
If
You're gonna be holding them up anyway.
Yeah, but
You're
you
gonna
know,
be paying the
everybody-
roof anyway.
Yeah, but everybody doesn't need a roof.
Yes, you do.
That's not, you don't know that.
So what I'm saying is,
People
the
in my
SBA
house-
loan,
I think we've heard enough. I think we're getting into opinions now. And the game plan is to probably have some kind of follow-up, maybe a survey, or just some opportunity for you guys to give us some feedback. We've heard all the positions here, right? It's just a matter of some real dollars and some real discussions about how to proceed further. I think we don't want to waste any more time on just banting
Well, we're
back
not
and forth.
wasting time, we're asking if can we get insurance versus.
You're asking some questions that can't be answered, though. They're,
Can you just, we were in your office here, explain how the SBA loan works, there's no liens, and how it gets closed out?
I don't think this one, I don't know if I have all the paperwork, I don't think this one comes with a mortgage. I could be wrong.
in my discussion right now, it does not come with a mortgage. They called it an assessment. It's an annual payment.
Okay, so this is,
But you're
yeah, so
gonna be
this
assessed.
is how it works. So you you enter into an agreement with the SBA, and one of the funky things about it is you have to maintain insurance, and honestly, you have to maintain flood insurance. So to the extent you don't buy it,
No flood.
you got away with it? Okay. Because the SBA loans have a flood requirement, because you can buy not in a flood zone, so if they waive that for you, that's fine.
Yep.
Most of the time, they're not. But anyways, you just have to have insurance. The other thing that you have to do is, when you get insurance proceeds, you have to agree to give them the insurance proceeds to pay down the loan. That's it. Okay. So
And
this
then
is
our monthly payment reduces, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
Exactly. So basically, it's the bridge. It gets you from today, no anxiety, new roofs, everything. My suggestion is you would go take all the money for roofs out of your reserves and supplement it. Reason why is because when you put a brand new roof on your house, your reserve should be 0. And then year 1, you reserve until you have enough money in year 10 or 20.
Life
So,
expectancy.
for the life expectancy. Roofs have a 30-year life expectancy. I've never seen one in Florida, and by the way, the insurance companies don't allow you. So the life expectancy is pretty much between 10 and 15 years. You start at 0, you build up your reserves. So you don't need reserves. So that's additional funds, okay? The damage to your roofs is underneath the tile. That's where the damage is. It's not on the top of the tile. So basically, we borrow the money. The association will assess the community. Don't fall out of your seats. A special assessment for $1.8 million.
$1.830 million.
That's the number.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dean. We are allocated so much time for this room, and we are going to be stressed. And we need to get into our budget.
No,
You want me to finish?
no, let him finish.
Okay, I'll tell you how it works.
You have finished as far as I'm concerned.
$1.83 million, we special assess you, we divide it by the number of units, divided over 30 years. That's it.
Is that gonna be on top of them raising our insurance?
Yeah. But now it allows you to shop your insurance.
What happens when you sell your house?
Yeah, that's.
Well, the assessment will, the portion that you pay, of course you pay, and then the balance of the assessment, typically the associations then pass it to the new owner.
Perhaps when we get all the parameters of the loan, we'll have those answers. Right now, we don't. We don't have those answers specifically.
We're still on.
So,
You're a realtor, this whole farm.
you already said we couldn't get it, remember? Never mind.
I just have
We
one
need to go
question,
ahead.
if you don't mind, please.
Hey,
Wait,
she
so-
wants to say something, let her say
Okay,
something.
I just have, we're sitting here kind of talking about dollars and where they all are, because we know our units are more valuable. We bought in, added about a valuable, price, thank you. However, since we're looking at now what they're valued now, and what they're selling for, and what they could in 10 months sell less, because we're still waiting to make decisions, when we've got a brand new roof, less insurance, and I don't know if that $3,000 or $7,000, how much you're gonna charge us, is also tax deductible, and you gained in your value of your home again.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about gaining the money back that we're talking and feeling about our loss right now.
I would disagree with that a little bit, because you're selling a house, and besides what the person that's buying your house for, they are signing up for a commitment to pay another $30,000 over their whatever time frame that they own the house.
But you're going to take that on whether you want to live here or not. And that's just like your 4 and your 1. You're taking that on with your knowledge. You're not hiding that. It's part of.
No, I'm not saying you would hide it, but that's part of the equation. That is a real number.
But that's going to be your value.
But let me, so you're making the assumption that there is a pool of houses out there, desirable houses, that don't have special assessments. I represent over 300 plus condominiums. Every one of them has special assessments that are paid off a long period of time, because you haven't been here long, but this storm, no one could prepare for it. Okay, the dollar amounts we're talking about are astronomical. So every association, you pick up the phone, you're a realtor, special assessment in a desirable area that had some impact from the storm. I mean, you're talking hundreds of $50,000s of dollars for just storm debris cleanup, special assessment. Budgets can't handle it. So So you're not gonna say, well, we're gonna be at a disadvantage because we have a special assessment. Every single community out there has special assessments. They're big numbers, my friend, big numbers. It's the cost of living in this most beautiful place in Florida. It is the most expensive place to live. If you haven't learned that from Pennsylvania, you will, my friend. This is very, very, very. If you buy a roof for $20,000 in Pennsylvania, you'll pay for $100,000 in the same roof.
I've already labeled my house a money pit, so I'm with you. I get it already.
So what you're saying is, we're gonna take the assessment for the roofs, but he's still gonna fight for us.
So let's say if you were doing this SBA loan and you borrowed at $1.8 million.
We need to say
This
that.
is
In
the
the
other
end,
part of the discussion.
after all fees
Oh, yeah.
and collections and whatever, and you net $1.7 million from the
Get that
insurance.
thing out of the table.
Well, you can pay back the SBA loan.
I understand where you're coming from. Nobody wants that.
Nobody's not doing
They're a
that.
fact of life.
It's just a matter of giving you guys time. I mean, they're really on the roofs are in.
Excuse me,
I mean,
guys.
it is an option.
I have an accounting question. Somebody,
We have a.
Mike,
oh, I'm sorry.
he has an accountant.
I have an accounting question. We have money that we've been set aside for new roofs because we're a third-tier roof, and we cover it with an HOA, and we've been putting it aside.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dean.
Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, Dean. We'll be in touch. We're going to be here a while. Wait a minute.
We've been, supposedly, we've been putting in escrow money for new roofs. Funding it for,
We'll,
like,
maybe when we get into these financial numbers, your question will be answered.
okay, because I don't see it on the line item.
Let Chris go through his presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, you're on. Sorry, Rob.
So before Chris goes up and presents the budget for next year, there is a reserve assessment or an amount in the budget every year. $45,000 was last year. We have it in the budget for this year, $45,000. It goes into a unique bank account.
A hidden bank account.
It's not a hidden bank account.
Okay, but it's something that we don't see on our financials.
Of course it is. It's in there. It's the cash balance. Now, the cash balance of that account right now, and this is deep in the weeds of accounting here, right? So the cash balance in the reserve fund is only about $100,000 because the reserve fund lended money to the operating fund to cover some of the prepaids that were required for insurance, blah, blah, blah. But the fund balance itself is about $200,000. Hence my thought that we have enough for 2 to 3 roofs at $60,000 or $70,000. Now, we've been funding, you have all been funding that account over a number of years. The painting of all the buildings gets paid out of that. A bunch of the repairs, ongoing repairs, doesn't necessarily come out of the operating report, apparently, of what I've seen. And it's been paid out of the reserve account. So when I looked at it, I was hoping that the reserve balance was much higher. But if you go back the last couple of years, you can see where the money has been spent.
I understand, borrowing from Peter.
Yeah.
So we do have money in reserve.
$200,000. It's in the monthly financial report. It's listed as a bank account, and there's a balance sheet.
Just the cash reserve in the bank account?
I believe there's 2 reports that are out there. There's a resident report, and then there's a board report.
I would hope they're the same.
The board report has a little more detail than the pieces that you get. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. But that information is out there. If it hasn't been in, well, if you go on again to the FS Residential website, I believe they're all out there. There's a resident report and there's a board report out there. Look at the board report. That's what.
I don't know if I have the, I don't know if I can get in and I'll see that. Maybe I can.
All of the reports from the last 3 years are out there. They get saved there every month. They're a little bit slower than I would like because we haven't gotten the October report yet. The only one that's out there is the September report. So there's I guess they wait for the bank statement before they update the report. I'm not
Well,
sure.
where are the reports listed? You said they're out there. How do you read, how do you?
First service residential.
First Service Residential, that's,
A question that may be on 70 minds here. If we have 70 minds, what happens if we don't get the SBA loan? Anybody consider what will happen if we don't get a loan?
well, we missed that question with the lawyer here. I think, I sense that we're at the initial stages of discovering all of the nuances with the SBA loan. We don't,
Worst case scenario, if we don't get that loan.
well, you heard the worst case, then
Then we're all paying the bill.
then we go to a commercial institution and
But didn't we
get
have-
get a mortgage for 5, 6, 7% interest. Unless somebody has a rich uncle somewhere that wants to contribute to us. We don't have that money. We don't have a reserve of the magnitude to pay for all the roofs.
But it should be 1/3 of the way funded because we're 10 years into the property. For a
We had to fix a
30-year
lot of
roof,
roofs.
it should have been 1/3 of the way funded by now. For the entire.
I hear what you're saying and understand, and there's a lot of history that, I've seen the history of 3 years, I don't know the history of 10 years.
No, it's kind of like the preacher that says, we can get a new building here, but we need the money, and it's in your pocket. Folks, it's in your pocket.
Levy,
Can we go to this, Chris?
Yeah. One more question.
did we get that loan before or no?
Did we get what?
Oh, you shut it off, yeah.
The loan is being asked to be reinstated.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Be reinstated.
When will we know?
It is when the attorneys that work for SBA tell us it's a go. It is now in their hands.
So it's-
And it's the last hand that I'm told that will review it.
I think John suggested that we hire somebody to help us with the SBA process to really understand all the nuances. One of my concerns is the fact that I'm a snowbird. This is my second home. And again, a little knowledge is dangerous, but I read in the fine print that it doesn't cover second residences. And it's only what I heard, what I read. I don't know if that's true. And that's why we think we need to have an expert really help us with this. John, can you add to that?
Well, when Levick and I met with Rob Cooper, whenever that was, 3 months ago, that's when he brought up the SBA loan and how you can use it and how you can pay it off. At that time, he said it would be part of the closing cost. Say everyone owned $20,000 and you paid off as you go. When you sold your unit, that had to be paid at the time of the sale, either by the owner or the buyer or whatever system
Well, you
they
negotiate.
worked out. And then that house would be free and clear of the line. And there'd be no liens.
It doesn't carry it.
Now, what was the other part also?
I'm worried about using it for a second home as opposed to a personal residence.
Well, that never came up.
Well, again, I was on the SBA, I was on the SBA website, and that's what I read, that's all.
When I
Those
talked
friends
to
were
Rob
saying
at that time with Levick, I asked him what experience he has in dealing with SBA loans, and he said he could get us through it, walk us through it. But at that time, we had to reapply, and now we're at where we are, wherever Levick is.
So we'll we're applying.
Chris, are you going to give us the budget numbers?
Before we go into the budget, can I ask one more question about the roofs? We were approved from the insurance company for $80,000 for 2616, 2414, 2616. Where is that money right now?
Being held in the account?
Being held in what account?
I will cover that.
Is that in
It'll be
the-
covered when you go through this.
Is that in
It'll
the-
be covered when you see this presentation.
Okay.
Well, we have-
My point being is, why, if we have that money, why is the roof not on that twin? If we have the money in the reserves for that roof, and we could be putting aside those tiles, but that house should have been re-roofed.
In
If we
process,
have the money, there's no reason why that roof should not have been done.
Rick,
and it's in process.
trying to get that roofing started for the last couple Well, the tear down's gonna be scheduled for the next week or two. The picture has been everything from steel roofs, to tile roofs, to the kind of tiles that we're gonna get, getting the contract looking at it, and then, getting Gil to find the right tiles to do it, and for the permits, and to get paid. So the FSR now's got, he's pulled the permits.
We're out of here in 15 minutes.
We got two tiles to pick from, but it won't matter. He can tear it down the next couple of weeks, because if we stay exposed for the 6 months it's gonna take to get that tile. Done.
Yeah, as long as that don't remain on there.
Done.
What are you just going to tell us?
Thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, Chris.
Is everybody ready to switch gears here? So, we sent out, the board sent out the proposed budget for 2024, I believe, about 3 weeks ago. And I'm going to review some of that and give you highlights of the year-to-date financials as of the... Oh, you can't hear me?
You want this one, it's loose, and it's on.
Okay, do I have to repeat everything again?
Let me make that one on.
So about 3 weeks ago, I think it was 3 to 4 weeks ago, we sent out the proposed budget for 2024. Everybody has a copy of it.
Speak into it, Chris.
And I requested the year-to-date financials from the accounting firm here, so I would have the most recent financials to review with you in this meeting today. So I have, as of the end of the third quarter, September 30th financials, because they're always at least a month behind in publishing the financials on a monthly basis. So just some of the, here's where we stand as of the end of, I'm sorry, that's a typo up there. It's really 9/30, not 10/31. We have our current cash balances in our operating fund, as you can see, is 139. Our reserve balance is only 106, so as you can do the math, it's going to buy you 2 roofs. So does somebody commented we should be paying out of the reserves? Well, there's not that much money in the reserves. So we have a total cash balance at a little less than $250K. And some of the key items that we did pay out of reserves this year, if you recall, we did, I think 7 or 8 roof repairs, paid to Rams Roofing for a total of $41K. We did pay a portion of the bill we got from ACE for tarping, and you may have heard they billed us a lot more, and we refused to pay so far, but we have paid them $30K. And we did receive, as we said, $80K a month ago or so, maybe 6 weeks ago. And half of that's already been paid to Rams as a 50% deposit for that building, 24-14-16. So they already have their deposit. The other half gets paid when the roof is complete. To answer the question, when's that going to happen? I have no idea. So I'd have to defer that to somebody else who's handling the contract. I guess there's a lead time, of course, on the materials, and how long that is, I don't
It's going to be about 26 weeks.
know. But that's pretty fast.
26 and another 9 for another 2 for the building. About 30 weeks from the time you start to tear.
Well, that was over a month ago, so,
No, that's current.
so, yeah. Also paid out of reserves, we did 7 house paintings this year for about $20K, paid to Pristine. And the dean got his commission from that $80K, as everybody knows, 10%, so that's $8K. Those are some of the key items paid out of reserves. And yet with that, we still have a $106,000 balance. As of September 30th, 4 units have sold. Each one, as you know, $1,000 is contributed to reserves. So I believe another one sold in October, so that would be 5 year to date. And just a small footnote regarding delinquency, there is one homeowner that's over $5,000 unpaid past due HOA fees. So as far as our income and expenses are for the year to date, the operating income is, this is again as of September 30th, it's 138K, reserve assessment, special assessment, that of course we paid 68,000 in special assessments, that was not budgeted for, and other income that we got, mostly interest income. So this 75K variance is mainly due to these two items right here, special assessments and mainly all for hurricane cleanup. And some roof repairs were paid out of that too. So total expenses year to date, we spent more than we brought in by $6,000. That's the bottom line there. Major expenses, of course, insurance was the big, we budgeted for first, as of year-to-date budget, we were 20K over in premiums paid. Hurricane, of course, we didn't budget for that at all. And then contingencies, there was a couple of footnotes where the accounting people incorrectly charged some items to contingencies that should have come out of reserves. Things like drain repairs and roof repairs. So that's the top, the top budget items for the year that we, where our expenses were. So moving on to the major expenses, top three categories, because I could show you the entire budget, but I figure you're too tired to look at all that right now, but these are the ones that made the impact, the property insurance. We're projecting over 50%. This is a 51% increase over last year, what we'll be paying in premiums. And that's just an estimate right now. I don't actually we won't know the actual policy, but we were advised to use about that round number as a rough guidelines to expect increases in premiums.
Sorry, Chris, just to be a point of clarity here, that $103,000 was the budgeted amount. The actual premium for this year, which started in April, May or whatever, was this $155,000. We have not gotten an estimate yet for next year's insurance amount. What his number...
Footnote right there.
Yeah, this number just is the number that occurred this past year. It could be 50% more. Again, we don't know. Just so nobody says, well, you said the budget was only 150. We don't know.
That's our best guess right now. So. And that's right there, one item. That's over half the entire budget. So we can nickel dime the other things, but they make very little impact. This is the big one. The second biggest is the lawn maintenance, which we project a very minor increase, about 4.5%. That's 21% of the budget. And then reserve transfers, we did not change that number from last year. I figured it's painful enough. You're going to see an increase in the dues, HOA dues. And yeah, we could always put more money in the reserves, but it's a big bite, big chunk. So as a comparison to last year's, when looking at the dues, our HOA assessment, we paid last year, that was the original budget, then we added through assessments, 614, this is per household, per quarter. And then the insurance assessment, hurricane cleanup, revised. So we really pay on a quarterly, annually, we pay 4588, which is about 47 quarterly. And as a comparison, what we're putting in the budget, this is a total of $4,000 and $1022. So it really represents, it's a $500 reduction basically. Now, of course, there's going to be, I'm not counting any future special assessments because we don't know what that's going to look like yet.
I think I did.
So this assumes no special assessments. You would actually be paying $500 less next year out of your dues than you did last year.
And that basically pertains to the hurricane cleanup. We're not hopefully having that again this year. So the difference between the numbers really is that bucket, that special assessment that we had.
We're not budgeting anything for hurricane cleanup because we're not going to have one next year. Right? It's once every 100 years. So if anybody has any questions on other line items in the budget, I can bring that up if you want. Sure.
I have a line item question regarding the expenses. Under office expenses, we're going from $800 a year to $1,800. That's $150 worth of paper a month. That's a lot, $150 a month increase for office expenses.
For what?
Office expenses.
Yeah, we put in $150 basically a month, which is $1,800 a year.
But then last year it came in at 800. What was the actual for last year? Because see, this is hard to read because whenever I did budgets, you had your you had your budgeted amount, you had what you put through, and then you had your expected for the rest of the year.
Right.
You budget out the year.
I think we base it, I don't have that right up, I can pull it up from the financials that the actuals were quite a bit higher. And I think the reason for that is because they had to do so many more mailings and
Do we share
creating the
that with
books.
Sandoval, the master HOA, or is this just?
This is just us.
ours?
This is just for the villas.
$150
Yeah, you know, of course, that's on a whole separate.
Chris?
Well, it didn't work out that way, 150 evenly every month. That was, we may have hit 1 or 2 months. Right.
Have you put through an expense for any office expenses you've had? I put
Me
through zero.
personally?
Yeah, you
Never.
personally.
Not
I put
one
through
time.
zero. Mike's probably
The heck?
puts zero.
Isn't that-
Anybody on the board is not charging you any money for anything. It's out of our pocket. What that money's coming from is First Residential Services in their expense of sending out your payment books, coupon books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a purchase.
It's ridiculously spent that money to send them.
Well, they pay our bills too for
Yeah,
us.
isn't
Yeah,
that,
they
would that be under accounting fees then, that we pay for service?
Yeah, see, I don't really have a clear, and that's a question for First Service. They break those things out separately, and I'm not sure. Accounting could be just for doing our financials.
So-
They have accountants that do it, they're audited statements every month, and I think that's the accounting portion. The office expenses is for all the other little mailings and coupon books and all that other stuff.
Okay, let me answer that question first, please. So we pay a CPA to do our tax return for us at the end of the year, and we pay a CPA to do compiled financial statements for us at the end of the year. They're not audited financial statements, they're compiled financial statements. Those two expenditures, I believe, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like $4,000 or $5,000 that we pay for those two professionally prepared documents. So that could be what's in the accounting. But we do pay an outside CPA firm.
Right.
And we pay, part of the budget for accounting next year is $3,600. And legal, we hardly had any legal expense this year, amazingly. At least not yet. I don't know. He's probably
We
going to
didn't get
charge
his bill yet.
$5,000 for coming to this meeting.
Why can't we go paperless for coupon books? I never even look at the things. Why can't we?
Why can't we just take them in?
Why can't we?
Yeah, why can we just,
I think you can go on the FS residential website and pay directly through that.
that's what most everybody does.
Well, I know what
I
the
don't.
payment is. So why do we need to have them send
Spend out
us
coupon.
papers?
Well, it's up to the group. I think if everybody has that capability to do it electronically, it's certainly something that we can investigate.
We don't have to do it electronically to them. I pay it out of my bank account, but I know what that payment is every month. So we can save.
No, but you have that capability through your bank to do that. I'm just saying, I don't know if everybody has that same capability. I pay all my bills electronically, so I'm okay doing that. I'm not sure everybody is.
But, like Mike said, there's probably 20% of the people that just do everything the old-fashioned way, and they want a coupon book.
Question.
Yep.
When Crawford did.
Go ahead.
When Crawford did the big board as far as landscaping, and we got a better deal because we were with them, from now I understand, they're going with Juniper. Would it be to our behoove to maybe ask them to bid us out to see if we could go cheaper?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, Levitt can.
I'll be glad to answer that.
Yes.
We are talking to another landscaping company, but I'm not in a position to tell you anything about it just yet.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the morning that you and I walked through the whole neighborhood,
Yes.
and we saw missing sod,
Yes.
and we saw some bushes,
Yes.
your tree was blown over, there was another blown over. I got a proposal for $1,608, I believe, to put that back up.
I know you did.
And I got it done for $785.55. And I finally just got him to pay my MasterCard account, because he's tight with his money. Your money.
But that's what I was trying to explain, because me being on the landscaping, I would like to bid out other companies.
We're definitely talking about.
You bet.
Are you on the landscaping committee?
We didn't know there was a.
Yeah, I have been, remember I walked the whole community.
I know, but we were trying to get her to say yes,
But how?
and find anybody else that's interested
I
to
do
work
have
with
someone
her.
else. I do have someone else, but
Oh,
like,
good.
there's a miscommunication
Then let-
between you and I.
Let-
I don't know what's going on.
Then let your board know what's going on as far as the committee. We would love to know that.
Does anybody want to know what's going on with the architectural?
Now, can I go back to the landscaping, please? My bush tree did blow over, and it was gone. It didn't get replaced, it got a yucca plant that they put next to the building, and it's up underneath my acacia. So, what they're charging you didn't happen. My tree isn't there. I got a yucca plant, they stuck in the ground.
Ma'am, I didn't look at your
Well, I
plan.
think a lot of the hibiscus.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because they're.
You guys are, hey,
Replacing.
we've got a couple of guys that have given their time tonight.
More than enough.
Victor and Jack.
Thank you.
And their time is up.
Thank
Would you
you.
please show them a little appreciation?
Getting overtime.
Thank you.
Would you please double their overtime? Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thanks for having. Thanks.
Hi, I'm sorry.
What, Steve?
What is your town manager report?
Oh, is that all?
Oh, engineering and